also, like when they stop, they're sending a signal to their team. They're like, I'm done playing, maybe you should stop too. And that can be a really nice conflictless way to end that video game playing session. But whether or not you do that, it would be really nice if you could find that conflictless way to end that session. So now I'd like to introduce our next two presenters, Catherine and Joy, who will be talking about one of the more darker aspects of the internet, cyberbullying.
Thanks, Victor. I'm Catherine. You're not as sleepy as that computer was. I'm Catherine. I'm a junior at Los Gatos High School.
And I'm Joy today. I'm a freshman here at
And today we're going to be talking about cyberbullying. So many people might ask, what is cyberbullying? Well, the definition is the use of the internet and related technologies, such as cell phones, to harm other people in a deliberate, repeated, and hostile manner.
Cyberbullying can be misconcepted, like this junior male said in our survey. He said, cyberbullying isn't a real thing. Teenagers are naturally cruel and rude to each other, and it has nothing to do with the internet or social media. This is a common misconception. So cyberbullying it actually affects teenagers' lives, and people actually mean it when they say mean things on the internet.
So how is this different from regular bullying? Well, for one thing, when you think of bullying, you might think physical, like kicking or punching or calling names. But the main thing about physical bullying is that it's face-to-face. You have to be actually looking at the person, being in the same room as them, to bully them, usually. So that means that you might have to wait a while if you're mad at someone before you can see them and then decide to bully them. The difference is that on the internet, it's impulsive posting anywhere, anytime. So you can do this instantaneously, 24/7, anytime. Just as soon as you feel mad about something, you just go up on the internet and post some mean comment or picture. So that's the danger, because with cyberbullying, it's so fast and kind of convenient that it can often happen more often than regular bullying. And so websites that this commonly happens on are Facebook and other social media sites, and anonymous sites such as Tumblr, Formstring, and YouTube, where you can post comments or pictures or mean things anonymously so that the other person is being bullied, but you don't have to take responsibility for the mean comments.
So you don't need to know someone to cyberbully them. A while back, a girl named Rebecca Black posted a video called Friday, and it was a song that not everyone liked, and a lot of people thought it was badly written. So people posted these mean comments.
So cyberbullying is also usually very public. So one of the quotes we got from our survey was, "I know a girl who got into a car accident and these mean boys kept posting pictures of her car and calling her stupid." So this is another danger of cyberbullying, that not only will the person being bullied feel bad that they're having all these mean things said about them, they'll also feel even more embarrassed because all of the people on the website also see the bullying. So this is a chart that shows some statistics about cyberbullying in other areas. Now, all of these quotes are from our survey, but cyberbullying is also a problem throughout California and the United States.
So the different types of cyberbullying are slander, private, and anonymous attack. Slander is public attack, and it's widespread, so it's on a public forum where everyone can see. Private cyberbullying is done by instant message or private message, and it can get more personal. And anonymous attack is when someone makes a fake account or with a big name and bullies someone like that, so they don't have to take responsibility.
So in our survey, we asked if the people that were being surveyed had a personal experience with cyberbullying. And we found that 68% of the teens said that they hadn't been cyberbullied personally. However, 10% of the teens said that they had observed cyberbullying, and 22% said that they had been cyberbullied.
So a sophomore girl from our survey said, yes, what people say on the internet can be very hurtful. People on the internet are totally different than what they are in real I feel very strongly about this because I believe people really don't have to share everything in life. It's not necessary.
So cyberbullying is also more common than you think. Like I said earlier, all of these statistics and stories are from right here in the Bay Area at high schools like Lynbrook and the high schools that we're from. So one of the quotes said, "I know people that have been cyberbullied and I have too. My friends were called names and had gossips heard about them, and they claimed this person forgot his friends and they said he was an awful person." So this also goes to show that cyberbullying can also occur to groups of friends as opposed to just one person.
Cyberbullying can get personal. A freshman female from our survey said, "A guy in my class kept chatting me and saying things that were very unnecessary. They really hurt. He called me ugly and said that if I ever got a boyfriend, he would break up with me because I was ugly. It really hurt and took me a while for it to get over." So, as you can see from here, cyberbullying can affect people's self-esteem and it can make people feel really bad about themselves.
So a major danger of cyberbullying is that often when teens get cyberbullied, they don't tell their parents. So in a UCLA survey, they found that 60% of cyberbullied teens did not tell their parents. And they also found that 42% of that 60% said the reason that they didn't tell their parents was that they thought, "I just need to deal with it." Now this can also be the case. Cyberbullying, if it's kind of an isolated occurrence or if it's just a one offhand comment, teens often can figure out how to take care of it themselves and it can be a learning experience. However, cyberbullying can get out of hand very easily. So teens, it's really important that if you're being cyberbullied or if you see somebody else being cyberbullied and you think that it's becoming out of hand, that you go to a trusted adult or parent and get help. Now, 35% of the 60% said, "I'm afraid they will take unnecessary action or that they're afraid of punishment." And a possible reason for this kind of quote is that parents often feel that completely restricting internet access is the best way to deal with cyberbullying. However, this will only result in a breakdown of communication. I know it makes sense that completely restricting access to the internet or restricting access to Facebook will stop the problem of cyberbullying, but actually it makes it worse. So the best way to help your teen get over cyberbullying is to just do that, help them. Don't try to run in and fix things for them. Be very understanding and give them the help that they ask for. And another really good way to help solve that is just to help them be strong and just tell them what an amazing person they are and how the comments that they're seeing have no meaning and aren't really real.
So, how do we fix this? First, you can look for signs of cyberbullying, such as your teen suddenly stop using their computer, appearing nervous or jumpy, and avoiding discussion about computer usage. What you can do is talk to them about it. Don't be open and don't be threatening, and like Catherine said, remind them how amazing they are. And most importantly, trust your teenagers.
So all in all, cyberbullying is a serious danger that often can get overlooked, but it is a problem and it is increasing. So one of the main dangers is that parents don't really know how to handle it and teens don't trust their parents to handle it appropriately. So to fix this problem for better communication, be open about internet usage in general and parents be understanding if cyberbullying happens. So if your teen comes to you and says that they're being cyberbullied, then give them the help that they ask for and be very supportive. But don't try to run in and fix things all by yourself. And with that, we'll give it back to Victor.
Some people don't really like to talk about cyberbullying, and some people don't really think it's a real issue, but it is. You know, if someone's being cyberbullied and you see that, you should stand up to them. Stand up for them. Like, you know, it's just like with normal bullies. But cyberbullying, while cyberbullying may be easier than normal bullying, standing up to cyberbullies will also be easier than standing up to normal bullies. If you're the victim, then just be open. Don't be afraid to talk to your parents or your friends. They'll all be there. So up until now, we've had quite a few teens talking. And so now I'd like to introduce Dee Dee, our advisor, who will be giving a parent's perspective on this issue.
Sorry about that. As a matter of fact, why don't we take a minute for everyone to just stand up and just stretch a little bit, just to get some air into our lungs. We're not having a break. Just stretch it out, yeah. There you go, good. Okay, great. Or you can fall, that works too. It really helps get air in the lungs. No, thank you. My name is Belinda Stamp, and I've been the advisor for Reaco for about a year and a half. I'm also a marriage and family therapist, intern, and I have an office in Los Altos. And also, I'm a mother of a 15-year-old. So I'm going through the teen years along with all of you. So one of the biggest problems that we have with teens that we've talked about already is that teens and parents have a hard time understanding each other. Oftentimes, parents think that teens live in their own world, and our teens are convinced that we're from a different planet. And when it comes to technology, the world of technology, that is absolutely true. Because our teens were born into technology. Our teens don't know a time when there wasn't mobile devices and laptops. However, for us, we didn't have that when we were kids. When we were 15, there weren't laptops, there weren't mobile devices, there weren't internet. A lot of us would be lucky just to have a cordless phone in the house, or even a microwave. So we have, in the last 20 years, we have lived through so many advances, and keeping up with it has been really hard for us. But our kids are immersed in technology. They embrace technology. They see and use technology in a totally different way than we do. So I'm here to talk about 7 guidelines that you can use, that you can look at to help you guide your teens through the world of technology. So the first thing is to stay connected with your teens, and our teens have really talked a lot about that. Staying connected means that you need to really focus on having a loving relationship based on mutual love, trust, and respect for one another. And what does that look like in cyberspace or with internet use? That means that you need to relate to your kids on the computer by understanding how and why they use the computer, to gain a sensitivity about the way that they use the computer. So, for example, Facebook. We see our kids on Facebook every day and we think, they're just chatting with friends. And that is true, except the reality is that developmentally, our kids are at a place in their life when they are individuating, which means that they are becoming their own individuals. They are pulling away from us, their parents. They're trying to become more autonomous and independent in preparation to become adults. This is a good thing. How it shows up on Facebook is that Facebook is a public platform that our kids can use to project their own identity. And they have really pretty much 100% control over how they show up on Facebook. So they're really looking at developing an image. They're developing their own identity. They want to develop their relationship, develop their alliances with their peers. All those things are really important for them. And it makes Facebook a very special purpose in their life. So if you are a friend to how many parents here are friends with your kids on Facebook? That's good. That's really good. It's less than half, though. If you're a friend to your child on Facebook, that means that you need to be sensitive about what Facebook is for them and not abuse or use Facebook in the wrong way. I mean, if you're a friend to Facebook and you have access to their stuff, their wall, there's a tendency to go and kind of what they call troll your kids or stalk your kids and look at who they're talking to and everything. And maybe you could do that once in a while, but it would really break down the trust You need to really trust your kids and let them have that space. So for me, my daughter and I are friends, so I get to see things when they come to my wall. I don't really go to her wall. I don't troll her now. I did when I first got on when she was an 8th grader, but now she's a junior and I trust her. But I look at her stuff when it comes to the wall, my wall, and we talk about it. You know, like when she posts a status and she has 105 likes, that's a huge thing. That's really cool. So I'll say, oh, I saw what you posted. That was really funny. And you got like 105 likes. Cool. Way to go, girl. You know, so just understanding why they're on Facebook and how to relate to them on Facebook. Another thing is that my daughter and I have a rule that if I'm going to post something to her on Facebook, I need to get her prior approval. So, because if I post something with her name or her picture that's tagged, it will go to her wall and the wall of all her 500 friends. And I don't want to do anything that would embarrass my daughter. So I always ask her permission first. It just keeps it nice and trusting between us and keeps the mutual respect that we need. So to go on, the next slide is related, and that's to educate yourself. You need to understand how your student is using the internet. And luckily, you have the best teacher right in front of you. Go to your children and be sincere with them and say, you know, I really want to know how you use the internet. Let them teach you. My daughter was my Facebook coach for the first, well, it took a year for me to figure out Facebook, but she was always there for me. So just sit down with your kids and let them show you what's on the internet for them. There's also amazing websites out there. Educational websites that are geared for parents and teens alike. We didn't have time to post all of them, there's tons of them, but some are like GetNet Safety, netsmarts.org, and these are websites that actually have videos, they have tutorials. I mean, it's amazing the amount of information at these websites that will tell you anything you need to know about any different website. And at these websites, they also even have downloadable worksheets that you can use with your students to, while you're working on limiting or developing policy for your family. And you can print them out. They even have contracts that you can actually download a contract and make out a contract with your son and daughter if you think they're going too far on game playing or something. So I have a website. My website is delindasam.com. And on my website, I have a parent resource section. And in that resource section, I have a list of all the links to all these websites. So please go to my website, and I've kind of done a lot of work for you there. But it's a good place to really do some pretty good research about the web. The third point is to be a role model. I mean, we're all tied into our technology, aren't we? We all have our cell phones and our computers ourselves. So how are we using our cell phones and computers? If you are sitting there having a conversation with your student and your phone rings, what do? Do you answer that phone, stop your student and answer the phone? Or if your student comes up to you and you're on the computer, do they talk to the back of your head? Or do you tell them to come back later? We need to give our message to our kids that they are more important than our cell devices and computers. So just be aware of how you're using technology. Number 3 is, number 4. The next couple guidelines are really to do limit setting, which the students, which are the ECHO students have kind of been talking about. How do you set limits? So one of the limits that's really easy to set is to have your technology devices out in the open. Basically, if they're out in the open, then your kids will be out in the open about what they're doing on the internet. So have their laptops and devices out in the family room or kitchen so that you can monitor it. It's built-in accountability. They can see that, or they won't have the time or the inclination to go to sites that they shouldn't be on if mom or dad are walking behind them every 20 minutes. So it's just easier because basically the temptations are out there. And if you have a computer stashed in the back room or in their bedroom with the door closed, where they have hours and hours of uninterrupted computer use, chances are they can get into real trouble. And I work with youth, so I have clients that have gotten into real trouble on the computer. Okay, the next guideline is something that's related, and that's limited access to internet. This is timely because what's just around the corner? Christmas, Christmas time. And so our kids are going to want the newest, the latest, and the greatest devices out there, right? But most of these devices that are made now have internet access. And so if you have kids that are in elementary or middle school, they need to be supervised when they're on the internet. And if you're buying them these devices and letting them take them to school, they can get into trouble because they're too immature to understand what they're doing. So if you do have these devices for your kids that are middle school or elementary school, make sure that they are using these devices at home. And also, all these devices have restrictions on them, so make sure that those restriction settings are being used. The next one is having time away from computers. Again, this is kind of like role modeling. You're telling your son, you know what, face-to-face time is more important than computers. And I don't know about your families, but we actually have trouble in our house. Sometimes we all have dinner and go straight to our computers. And we're at the computers for the rest of the night. How often does that happen in your homes? Yeah, lots of times. It's just so easy to just go to our computers, right? So it's important for us to really have time set aside, make an effort to set time aside. You can, have game nights or have projects that you can do together, rake the yard together, or do crafts or puzzles, games, game night, going out to the movie, going out to the beach for the day, and have your cell phones turned off during that time. Take your kids up to Golden Gate or San Francisco and Golden Gate Park. We have tremendous things around here to do, and there's so much more to do than sit home and stare at your computer. And last but not least, the seventh one is to have the awareness that the computer is the adult world. It's the internet was designed by adults for adults. There are well over 40,000, probably 50,000 by now, adult websites. And having access to these websites is really easy to do. So you just simply have to lie, basically. And internet addiction, especially like pornography, is the new drug. There's so many adults and children alike who are really getting sucked into these addictions. They are powerful and harmful, very harmful. So kids, I just want to put this out to you that you're in a place where you're just developing your sexuality, and if you go onto some of these websites, you will you can end up having lifelong consequences, because these websites have nothing to do with reality at all. And the way that you stay in the way that you continue to get sucked in deeper is when you don't tell anyone. See, and secrecy is key. Most people that go to these websites don't talk about it. So the way to get out of it is to talk. So you know too, if it's hitting a chord in you and you know that you're going down the path that you really don't want to go into, talk to somebody. Talk to your parents, talk to a trusted person at school, your principal, or a trusted counselor or teacher, or talk to your pastor. Talk to somebody and just work. Get help. Just get help. And also you can talk to me. Give me a call anytime. So the last thing is that the gap in the bridge, the gap is that our kids are really in a different world when it comes to technology. And we, to really work with our kids and to connect with our kids, we need to come into their world. You know, most of our lives we're trying to get our kids to come into our world. But in the area of technology, we really need to come into their world. We need to understand how to use technology. So spend time with your kids. Sit with them and ask their advice. Be honest about what they're doing on what you're doing on the computer, so that they can be honest about what they're doing. Be a good role model and spend time with them. Teenagers say more than anything that time equals love. So spend time with your kids.
So just remember, the internet can be a really dangerous place for your teens, but if parents follow these 7 guidelines that Dee set out, they can really help to make it a much safer place. So now, I want to introduce our final 2 presenters, Emily and Angela, who will be talking about privacy.
Good evening, parents. Okay, I just want to see the hands of who has ever lied in their life. Anything, even, oh, I brushed my teeth this morning. You did it? Okay, so I'm pretty sure everyone has lied in their life about anything. If it's small or big, it's just something, and the main reason people lie is because we all want our privacy, right? People ask you questions and you don't know what to say, so you want to lie about it due to our own privacy. So I'm Emily Chen, and I'm a senior at Fremont High School.
I'm Angela Chu, and I'm a junior.
And we're going to be talking about privacy.
Hello? On our survey, we asked teens if they had ever lied to their parents about internet usage, and the results, they said that 60% of teens did lie to their parents, whereas 40% said they hadn't. So, Emily, why do you think teens lie to their parents?
From the survey we took earlier, a lot of teens said that they had to lie to their parents about internet usage because they were telling their parents they were doing their homework when they know that they were not going to be doing their homework. So they had to lie and be like, Mom, I'm going to write an essay, but then they were going to be on Facebook all the time. Also, they lie because some parents don't allow teens to have a Facebook or a blog or YouTube account, but in this society and the generation we live in now, it's very hard for teens to not own a social media website because everyone wants to be able to talk to their friends, and if all their friends have one, it's very tempting to make one yourself. So they have to lie to their parents in order to have Facebook. So from the survey we took, someone said, I would hide my life on the internet from them because the internet is where I can show my true self without being judged by others. If my parents could see everything that I do on the internet, about 50% of that would not be on there. I have a personal blog that I do not show many of my friends because of privacy issues. So what she is trying to say is that she owns a blog on the internet. She just writes out her thoughts, everything she's feeling and what she holds inside herself on the internet. But if her parents or even her friends saw any of that, it wouldn't even be on there anymore. So this is a huge privacy issue that teens have, and even parents too, anyone can have. So what would you hide from your parents?
So on the survey that we sent out, the top 4 answers were pictures, blogs, conversations, and her boyfriend or girlfriend. So for pictures, I know that for me, like if my parents saw a picture of me on something like Facebook, and I was in a picture with a guy, then my parents would be like, oh, do you like this guy? Is he your boyfriend? And they'd get like really intrusive and ask me questions like that. But I don't really want to have that conversation with them, so I would try and hide that from my parents. And I would do that by not showing them pictures. Another thing that teens said that they would hide from their parents were blogs, because as Emily said earlier, a lot of blogs contain, blogs have a lot of personal information and thoughts that teens are not, that they don't want to share with their parents. Again, sometimes they have information that they don't want to talk to their parents about, and they want to avoid these awkward conversations. And the same thing holds true for conversations, because sometimes teens talk with friends that their parents don't know, and then their parents would ask them questions like, who is this person, who is that person, what are they doing? And a lot of teens don't want to have that conversation with their parents. And And lastly, especially boyfriend or girlfriend, in this area, a lot of parents don't approve of their teens having a boyfriend or girlfriend, and so teens want to, they want to hide this from their parents. So Emily, what would you share with your parents?
So a lot of teens said that they want to share academic things with their parents. For example, in the area, every student has a school loop, right? And then parents can sign up for one as well. So school loop, you can see your grades, your homework, projects, anything that's going on with an academic interest. And then, so a lot of teens would share everything that's going on in school, like, oh, I got an A+ on my math test. Come, mommy, come look at my A+. They would also like to share music taste. For example, like my mom likes to listen to music that is played now time, like Rihanna, hip hop, rock and roll. So then when I find a song that I really think she would like, I would be like, okay, come here and listen to it. This is something that I like to share, and a lot of other teens like to share. From the survey, other people said that they would want to share with their parents things that they would approve of. It's pretty general, but it's just anything that isn't bad. And that I'm not doing anything wrong. A lot of parents would like to assume that teenagers are on the internet doing bad things, or not bad things, but like not using their time wisely on it, but they want to show their parents that they're not doing anything wrong. Also, this might be a little contradicting to the last post, but there are some teenagers who do share their Facebook blogs and pictures with their parents, and that just depends on what kind of relationship is between the parent and the teen. I know that if parents and teens have a strong relationship and they don't have anything to hide from them, it's fine to show them everything on, but if you have a teen who you don't really talk to and connect to, they're most likely not going to want to share those things with you.
So on the survey, we asked teens if they were friends with their parents on Facebook. And surprisingly, this survey was half-half. 50% said they were, and 56% said they weren't. So why and why not? People who said that they were friends with their parents, they said that they had nothing to hide, so that means that they have a good relationship with their parents,